Hello everyone, and welcome to another Hardcore Bob plugin tutorial. Today we're going to talk about Crystallizer, another smash success from the Soundtoys arsenal. This is a great plugin for when you're feeling a bit sleepy or tired of the predictable routines of life and just want to inject some adventure or randomness into your music. Now, many people are intimidated by this plugin because it makes ordinary sounds seem quite out of control, but that needn't be so because she who has the knowledge has total control of the universe. For today's demonstration, we'll be listening to a song called Almost by Humpty D from his sophomore album, Humpty Took a Dumpty Remastered. Let's take a listen. You can just hear Humpty's anguish as he shouts from the rooftops, "I've almost got it, but not quite, and I'm all steamed up about it." And what a better way to crystallize that emotion, hey, how about that, than with a little Crystallizer on every single track. Now, Crystallizer is very well known for its presets, which I'll demonstrate on this pluck sound here. All right, let's see, we've got Accordion Crystals, that's a pretty name. Oh, let's go back in time. I don't know why, that makes me think of a great big giant walking around like Rumpy-dumpy-dump-dump-a-frump. It's major, that sounds exclamatory. Oh, delightful, sound the trumpets. Game show riser. Goodness me, you're probably thinking, someone wake me up from this haunted merry-go-round. So before we jump into this, I'd like to briefly explain what it is Crystallizer is doing exactly. All it's doing is quite simply taking your initial sound, making a copy of it, and then manipulating that copy in all sorts of fun ways. So all these little knobs you see here are actually affecting the clone sound while leaving your original sound alone. Not unlike a delay plugin, but with a twist, as you'll see. The first twist, actually, is this pitch knob here. And all that's doing, folks, is changing the pitch of the cloned sound. So 100 cents means one semitone, 400 cents means 4 semitones, and so forth, which means that 1200 cents is an octave. You hear that? That's an octave. Now, if I turn the mix all the way to dry, you hear only the original unaffected sound. And all the way left, you hear only the cloned affected sound. You hear that? Now this splice knob here essentially chops the sound into rhythmic little bits like so. Over here you have your delay, which acts like a normal delay. Now both the splice and delay knobs can be adjusted granularly in milliseconds by flipping the MIDI sync switch here. And of course, flipping it up will allow you to sync it up with the tempo of your song. Now over here we have recycle, which on most delay plugins is called feedback, but Soundtoys seems to think they're better than everyone else, I suppose. As always, this knob simply adjusts whether you want the delay to go on and on, or on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, now this switch right here is probably Crystallizer's most important and signature feature, truth be told. If it were I designing this plugin, I would have just made a giant red button out of it. This, my friends, is the reverse feature, which takes your clone sound and reverses it. You hear how that's sort of a standard delay? But when I flip it to reverse, watch what happens. Oh, isn't that just delicious? Now down here we have gate and duck, which correlates to the threshold knob over here. All right, now listen carefully because this is a bit of a mouthful. When the gate knob is in the middle, it does nothing. But when it's pushed left toward gate, any sound that falls quieter than wherever this threshold is set to will be muted or gated. Now, if you're not familiar with the term gate, I like to imagine myself standing in front of my gate at home, yelling out to that unwanted sound, "Hey, stay off my property and leave my family alone." Now, the opposite is true when you turn this knob over to the word duck on the right. On this setting, everything below the threshold is A-OK, and everything above the threshold gets ducked or muted. See that? And then we duck So now everything above the threshold gets ducked. And now the opposite, there's gate. All right, now if you'll click the word tweak here, you'll see that down here we have some advanced settings. If we're honest, nobody really cares about these settings all that much, so go ahead and skip to the next section if you'd like. Otherwise, let's dive into it. Of course, your low cut and high cut here set the EQ for your feedback. So they decided to call it feedback mode here, but recycle up there. Real jesters they are over there at Sound Toys. Down here on feedback mode, you have all these different panning modes which just affect how the feedback gets spread across your speakers. Over here you have pitch offset, which does something quite subtle and interesting. As you can see here, there's a default setting of 13 cents, and so in a stereo setting, it essentially pitches the left channel down 13 cents and the right channel up 13 cents. So this gets real topsy-turvy when we turn it up. I think I like that there. Your splice offset and delay offset do exactly the same thing. Up next we have smoothing, which essentially adjusts the crossfades of the splices, allowing for that little extra granularity for those who give so many shits about the difference. Finally here you have your attack and release, and these are various settings for when you're in ducking mode. All right, enough with all that technical mumbo jumbo. Get to the music, Bob. Now here's what these plucks sound like in context without Crystallizer. Now, while that's nice, it's quite distracting and takes away attention from Humpty's voice, which of course makes Humpty very, very angry. So by adding Crystallizer, we're able to sort of smear the sound. And I even like to EQ out some of the top end to give Humpty D some extra room to shine. Oh, I could just cry my eyes out. Folks, make no mistake about it. Crystallizer is without question one of my top 5 favorite plugins to put on everything. So let's go ahead and put it on the master track and see if we can give the song that little extra subtle edge it needs. All right, let's turn that up there. Let's turn that up. Maybe a little more delay, a little bit more recycling, a little more volume. I think that's just about right. Did you hear the difference? Here's one more without. And with. There you have it, folks. You can find a link to Crystallizer in the description box below. As always, if you enjoyed this tutorial, it would mean just the world to me if you'd subscribe and like and comment and all those things. And hey, if there's a plugin you'd like to see demonstrated here, let me know about it in the comments. Now go forth and make fearless music with your newfound knowledge. And remember, if something scares you, just turn it up. Until next time, I'm Hardcore Bob, and thank you for watching.